What the fuck? Power trip action games, you know the ones I'm talking about. The type of game that rewards you for actually knowing how to play the game with skill and punishes you for sucking. The term is to get good, scrub, and where you see people gushing about how perfect the Soul games are, I prefer to have some badass with my ass whooping, thank you very much. It sucks to see this type of game go the way of the 3D Collectathon. No one makes them anymore. Wait, I can't use that as an example anymore. Crap. Well, unless your name is Platinum Games. And though they have scratched my high-octane action skill punishing type game itch, that was words, I've been waiting for Capcom to get their heads out of their asses and finally make Devil May Cry 5. Please, give it to me now! But I doubt we'll see that anytime soon. And as great as those type of games are, it's too bad you can't bring a friend along to slay hordes of dangerous enemies and crazy hard bosses in stylish manners together. This is the part where you think I would be like, but now there is! But, no. I wish it was, though. I really do.
Now it's time to say goodbye to the things we love and the innocence of good. All the time seems to fly. Free love, and it's all the defeats we always.
Yep, it's RWBY, guys. Rooster Teeth's first foray into the video game industry. And it shows. Don't get me wrong, Grimm Eclipse is a good game. I think it does hint at that high-octane action that the late Monty brought into the world of the show, but it's just not completely there. I don't know. Maybe I'm just wanting more out of my spectacle fighter. Hell, I've been spoiled by Devil May Cry 3, probably the best spectacle fighter out there, only rivaled by Bayonetta 2, so I'm pretty biased when it comes to these type of things. But I feel like a lot of the essential things are kind of missing from the game that would make me want to come back to it more and more, aside from just playing it with a friend who really wants to. I mean, I wanted my complex combo strings, my joggles, hard as hell bosses, different difficulty levels, and rewards for playing with skill and style. And what I got was a Dynasty Warriors attack layout, a stun system that seems random at times, a parry system that blatantly tells you when you can parry, and barely works, a level up system that makes killing enemies pointless after cap, bullet sponge pseudo bosses, a final boss that's more like a first boss, and an unlock system that rewards spamming the same moves over and over and over again for upgrades for future runs. Actually, let me cut in here for a sec. This is me from the future adding a thing here. Let's talk a little more in depth about the combat system. Oh boy. As stated prior, you have a Dynasty Warriors combo layout, so of course combat flows like crap. This type of system works for killing waves and waves of mindless enemies, but falls apart when you get to something that's an actual quote-unquote threat. Not because they're hard, oh no. Because they're just brick walls that refuse to go down. And with a run-and-gun type of game like that, it bogs it down a lot. However, this works in Dynasty Warriors because it's a break from the mindlessness, and once the damage sponge is dead, it's back to the mindlessly killing things. RWBY Grimm Eclipse's entire enemy roster are all damage sponges. So how's that fun? Okay, how about defending yourself from oncoming attacks? Well, you can dodge them, I guess. Or you can gamble with the parry system, and I mean gamble. In the game, they have a Batman Arkham countering system in place. First of all, why? Secondly, okay, fine, but does it work? Well, about 50% of the time. I stopped trying to go for these because instead of countering when I hit the button, my character would teleport in front of them and do nothing, only to get promptly hit by the attack I tried to counter. Bug or no, you shouldn't have shipped it like this, guys. So, does B do anything else aside from parry? Like a guard button? No! It does nothing but parry. So in other words, it's a useless button. Okay, you can only dodge, but that's fine if they give you enough HP, right? Right? Okay, so the game for some odd reason takes a page from Halo and gives you rechargeable shields for health. Which the dang thing only gives you about as much health for 2 hits. And if you hit it again, guess who gets downed? So fights end up like this. is an upgrade to extend the shield, as well as one that gives you an extra hit when you're trying to recharge, but these are both locked out until you fulfill requirements to unlock them, which by the way reset after you rank up. More on that later. What about the pivotal guns of the show? They are all weapons/guns, right? So we can shoot, right? Yep, and why would you do anything else? No, I'm serious. Lastly, you have your 2 special moves! The ult, which you can use when you fill up a gauge, and your team attack, which you can use when the planets f***ing align, both of which you can upgrade, and really you're probably better off just upgrading the ult and the gun. Team attacks, though strong, never come up when you want them to, so it doesn't really warrant an upgrade. Oh yeah, one more thing to mention. They have this ranking system that, after hitting some marks, you can choose to rank up, at the cost of resetting everything. But it's gonna be worth something, right? Well, you get this shiny emblem next to your name that does nothing but show your friends that you like to have your time wasted. Anyway, awkward cut back to the already recorded audio. Yay! So yeah, loads to be desired in this one. I think the 2 things going for it are that the enemies are tough, which the only reason why is because of the stiff combat system, and 4-player drop-in and drop-out co-op. I honestly feel like the game was made more for the fans of the show rather than the hardcore action gamers, you know, how it is marketed as. But that's the problem about pandering. You water down the experience to get everyone to play the game, and honestly the game is screaming about its wasted potential in my ears because of it. It doesn't really help that the gameplay consists of go to an enclosed room, kill all the things, move on, and rinse and repeat. And, well, yeah, that's pretty much it. You can argue that the same goes for other action games, and yeah, there is some merit to that, but in other games like this, you have all these awesome movesets that are constantly growing and improving, and there's enough flash and pizzazz to keep you invested. Not to mention killing enemies always was worth it because you gain currency, which is directly tied to your upgrades, as well as towards items to keep yourself alive for, if you know, you suck. Whereas here, you have the same combo you started with, and you're stuck with that until you swap characters, and once you hit the level cap, that's it. Fighting monsters just become a chore. I wouldn't be complaining as much if the gameplay was better and you get more of a reward for slaying baddies in repeat playthroughs of the game. And really, isn't that the point? To keep players engaged so that they can keep coming back, because honestly, I feel like they were attempting to make a completely different game than the one they ended up making. First game or no, I honestly feel like that there was a massive misstep in the direction that they were taking it. I really wish I was able to get a hold of this game sooner, so I would have been one of the people to give them feedback on this one. I feel like probably a lot of the issues I bring up has to do with the selling point of the game. 4-player co-op. As awesome as an idea on paper that is, and God knows I've been waiting for a spectacle fighter to do that for a while now, it's becoming increasingly clear why they don't make these co-op at all. Now don't get me wrong, the game is at its best when you're with friends. The amount of enemies per wave increases, and pulling out team combos together brings out a lot of the fun. Also, it makes using the ult a little more viable than it should be. But co-op is probably the main reason why we don't have a complex combo system in here. You have to deal with latencies on the internet, as well as having to balance, quote-unquote, around 4 characters, making them all fair in some regard. And with Spectacle Fighters, rule number 1 is making an OP badass that can pull off awesome stuff if you have enough skill to do so. So it breaks that rule. It shatters it. No wonder why the combat is so stiff. The game is literally holding these characters back to their full potential for balancing, which honestly saddens me greatly. So the game looks alright. It does a really good job emulating the show's world, though the lack of facial animations and also the ugly placement of invisible walls bothers the heck out of me. The music is mostly ripped directly from the show. I think there was at least 1 or 2 original tracks in there, but aside from that, they just haphazardly put bits of volumes 1 and 2's score in the game. So yeah. Voice acting in this game also sounds a bit flat, which is kind of understandable. I mean, video games are kind of hard to direct, when it's just voiceovers and not really any storyboards or video to go with it. And you know, for a team-based co-op game, you'd think that there would be some team banter. Or something. Just seems like a missed opportunity. Like, I know how you can go through the game with a team of 4 Yangs and all, but you could at least have some fun with the idea of that. Instead of saying fuck it to even attempting. Also, speaking of voicing, does anyone else find it weird when the teachers are talking to the team, it sounds like they're in the same place that they are?
Well, that's an issue. It appears the bridge is blocked. According to my map, you should be able to take a detour through the city's own waterway system.
when clearly they aren't. You'd think they would put a radio effect on it or something. Cutscenes are pretty cheap looking. I mean, first game and all, but with Rooster Teeth becoming more and more of an animation powerhouse that I would love to work for one of these days, it's kind of disheartening that the cutscenes didn't get the same polish that we've been seeing with the recent shows. Oh, and the story is bad. I mean, I don't really care about that on this show, but for those who do, yeah, it's bad. It's becoming increasingly obvious that a lack of a decent budget and a small team has hindered this game a lot. I don't know. I should have expected this. I mean, it's Rooster Teeth's first game, and like the first season of RWBY, there's a lot of growing pains here. You know, some might find this review as a bit of harsh criticism to the game. It's their first game, so I should go easy on them, right? But that's just it. It's their first game. So it's actually the best time to be a little frank with them. It's the best way they can get actual feedback on what to do for a possible sequel or future updates to the game. Can I recommend this to fans of the show? Absolutely not. No, this game's not worth your time. Fan or no? Maybe a game to play with friends, but if you have none, then don't get this game. At least not at this price. Wait for a price drop or a sale. They are probably going to make loads of changes in future updates, but as of right now, no. Don't get it. I'm sorry. In conclusion, RWBY Grimm Eclipse is an action game that left a lot to be desired. Its gameplay is too stiff and repetitive, it rewards spam, it is a bit unbalanced, looks cheap, and really just doesn't feel like the show RWBY. Some redeeming features is the 4-player co-op and the fun, albeit lacking, combat system. You can get it for PC on Steam.